लोग जॉइन हुए क्या?
हाँ देखो कितने हैं।
तो जॉइन
ये अभी ना इसमें ये आ रहा है, ये चेंज करना है।
World Health Day is celebrated each year on April 7. Each year, the celebration is marked of a special health theme to focus worldwide attention on important aspects of global health. This year, the theme is building a fairer, healthier world for everyone, men or women, rich or poor, young or old. With this note today, we welcome you all on the occasion of World Health Day and Swachhata Pakhwada program. And I invite Dr. Uda to deliver a lecture on iron, the red carpet nutrient for women's health. Over to you, Dr. Uda.
Thank you very much, Pallavi. So, namaskar and good afternoon to everyone. I wish you all a very happy वैश्विक स्वास्थ्य दिवस 2021. So, हमें पता है हम किस दौर से गुजर रहे हैं. हमें सबको पता है कि पूरे दुनिया पे एक बड़ा ही कठिन टाइम है ड्यू टू द पैंडेमिक ऑफ कोविड-19. हमारी जो भी हेल्थ सिस्टम है, जो भी हमारे आर्थिक और सामाजिक विषमता है वो और बढ़ गई है. और हम सबको वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने आह्वान किया है कि हम सबको एक साथ आके हमारी जो भी कास्ट है, हमारी जो भी रिलीजन्स है, हमारी जो भी रीजन है और जो भी हमारी इकोनॉमिक कंडीशन है उनको बाजू में रख के सबको एक साथ आके हमारी सोशल और हेल्दी लाइफ और सभी को हैप्पी कैसे हो और इस महामारी से हम वैश्विक महामारी से हम बाहर कैसे आए इसके बारे में सोचना है. और इसी बेसिस पे वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ने दिस ईयर की थीम रखी है बिल्डिंग ए फेयरर एंड हेल्दियर वर्ल्ड, हेल्थ फॉर ऑल. जब हम हेल्थ की बात करते हैं और जब हम एक फैमिली के बारे में सोचते हैं तो उसमें वुमन हेल्थ और जो महिलाओं की हेल्थ उसमें बहुत सारा इंपॉर्टेंस है. बिकॉज शी इज द पर्सन, वो जो ट्रांसजनरेशनल इफेक्ट होते हैं जो भी उनको उनकी वजह से पूरी फैमिली हेल्दी हो सकती है. हम अभी कोविड की वजह से बहुत सारा हमारे अवेयरनेस आ गया है और जैसे भी हम किसी का रिपोर्ट देखते हैं तो उसमें माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट डिफिशियंसी या जो भी हम बोलते हैं सूक्ष्म पोषक द्रव्य और मूल द्रव्य उसकी कमतरता हर एक महिला के रिपोर्ट में आती है. चाहे आप आयरन लो, विटामिन D3 लो, आयोडीन लो और विटामिन B12 लो. सो ये जब माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट है दे आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द वुमन हेल्थ. और इसी थीम के फोकस के ऊपर today we will discuss about the role of iron, how the iron is absorbed by the body, what are the sources of iron, how the iron economy work in the body for the production of RBC, and how the dietary diversification will help in the improving overall health of the woman and ultimately health of the family as well as health of the country and the global health. So starting with this note, I am starting this. So iron is one of the most abundant element on the earth. आप कहीं पे भी देखो हर जगह पे आयरन अवेलेबल है. Almost 80% of iron is present in inner and outer core. जो अपने अर्थ के अंदर का कोर है उसमें 80% आयरन है and then it get out on the atmosphere by the volcanic eruptions and ये millions years से ये condition चल रही है. So हमारे water में, हमारे soil में everywhere iron is there. And iron is required for the every life on the earth. It is not only the human being, but it is required for the plant, and it is one of the most regulated element or micronutrient in the system. Because अगर इसका कमतरता हो तो हमें बहुत सारे डिसीजेस होते थे, लेकिन अगर ये एक्सेस हो then it will cause many toxic effect and ultimately adverse effect. So अगर प्लांट के बारे में हम देखेंगे तो प्लांट में अगर ऑप्टिमम लेवल पे अगर आयरन है so they will be like डार्क ग्रीन कलर. और हम इसीलिए बोलते हैं कि डार्क ग्रीन सब्जियां खानी चाहिए क्योंकि उसमें आयरन की मात्रा ज्यादा होती है. अगर प्लांट को आयरन कम मिले तो वो पेल येलो कलर के हो जाते हैं. अगर उनको ज्यादा आयरन मिले तो then they will become toxic and they will die. Similarly to the plant, every microorganism require iron. आप बैक्टीरिया ले लो, फंगस ले लो, यीस्ट ले लो और वो अपने रेगुलेटेड तरह से अपना आयरन अपने बॉडी के अंदर या अपने सेल्स के अंदर लेते हैं. Not only the bacteria, now it has been reports are coming that viruses also modulate iron metabolism of human for their proliferation, like HIV virus, hepatitis C virus, and recent COVID-19 also shown कि वो अपना proliferation बढ़ाने के लिए सेल्स का आयरन मेटाबॉलिज्म रेगुलेट करता है। इसी तरह से जो भी अपने जानवर पशु पक्षी है उनको भी आयरन की रिक्वायरमेंट है, और एज अ फैमिली, एज अ ह्यूमन फैमिली, हमें भी सबको आयरन की रिक्वायरमेंट है। द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ आयरन इज डिफरेंट मीन्स एज पर द फिजियोलॉजिकल नीड। जैसे बच्चे हैं उनकी ग्रोथ होते रहती है, देयर मसल मास बढ़ता है, जैसे मसल मास बढ़ेगा वैसे आपकी ब्लड की कैपेसिटी बढ़ेगी, आपको ज्यादा ब्लड लगेगा, सो आयरन की रिक्वायरमेंट वैसे बढ़ जाएगी। सिमिलरली इन द वुमन मेंस्ट्रुएशन साइकिल और जो मेंस्ट्रुएशन होता है मंथली, उसमें ब्लड लॉस होता है तो उनके आयरन की रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा होती है। और वैसे ही प्रेगनेंसी में ऑलमोस्ट 1 ग्राम आयरन बेबी को देना पड़ता है, सो उस टाइम पे उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट आयरन की रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा होती है। वैसे ही एज पॉपुलेशन में एब्जॉर्प्शन कम हो जाता है, सो उनको भी आयरन की रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा होती है। सो हम देखते हैं कि आयरन डिफिशियंसी ये मोस्टली एनीमिया के साथ कोरिलेट होता है, बट ऐसे नहीं है। ग्लोबली अगर आप देखते हैं तो ग्लोबल पॉपुलेशन ऑफ वर्ल्ड इज अराउंड 7 to 8 बिलियन। उसमें से ऑलमोस्ट मोर देन 2.5 बिलियन पीपल्स आर अफेक्टेड विथ आयरन डिफिशियंसी मींस इट इज अ ग्लोबल इमरजेंसी, इट इज अ ग्लोबल प्रॉब्लम। एक सो उसमें से देखेंगे कि उसमें से ऑलमोस्ट 2 बिलियन पीपल हैव एनीमिया। सो अभी एनीमिया भी कैटेगराइज होता है, 50% is contributed by iron deficiency anemia and remaining 50% by some other factors like genetic factors or deficiency of other micronutrient. So ये ओवरऑल बहुत ही बड़ा बिग प्रॉब्लम है, और उसके वजह से बहुत सारे सिम्टम्स है, अब जो प्रोडक्टिविटी वो कम हो जाती है। सो व्हाट आर द सिम्टम्स ऑफ आयरन डेफिशिएंसी? सो आयरन डेफिशिएंसी के सिम्टम आपको इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ हीमोग्लोबिन और एनीमिया के बिना भी हो सकते हैं। सो वन ऑफ द मेजर symptom of anemia is tiredness or fatigue or decreased productivity of the work means it is one of the ignore sign। हमें लगता है कि यार नहीं ये तो ऐसे ही है, फिर हम कभी सोचते नहीं कि ये हमें आयरन डिफिशियंसी की वजह से हो सकता है। अब इसकी वजह से बहुत सारे अपनी जो प्रोडक्टिविटी लाइफ है या जो भी हम प्रोडक्टिव जितना कर सकते हो कम हो जाती है। दूसरा सिम्टम है शॉर्टनेस ऑफ ब्रीथ। हमारी बॉडी को ऑक्सीजन चाहिए। अगर आपके शरीर में आयरन की कमतरता हो तो जो आयरन की लेवल होती है, जो आरबीसी की लेवल वो कम होती है, तो आपके हार्ट को ज्यादा पंप करना पड़ता है टू मीट द डिमांड ऑफ एवरी ऑर्गन में। सबको ब्रेन तक आपका ऑक्सीजन जाना चाहिए, इसीलिए हार्ट को ज्यादा काम करना पड़ता है। और इट हैज बीन फाउंड दैट हार्ट फेल्यूर और हार्ट डिसीज इन वन ऑफ द मेजर कॉज ऑफ एनीमिया, क्योंकि आपका उतना हार्ट को वर्क करने का है। आयरन इज ऑल्सो रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द सिंथेसिस ऑफ न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर लाइक डोपामाइन। सो डोपामिन अगर हो गया तो यू विल बी हैप्पी, बट अगर डोपामिन की कमतरता हो तो यू विल गिव इनटू डिप्रेशन मींस मेंटल हेल्थ इज वन ऑफ द मेजर प्रॉब्लम इन इंडिया मींस ऑलमोस्ट 8 to 10% of Indians are mental health is not proper, and anemia might be one of the cause because long term iron deficiency causes depression. Then iron is also required for the proliferation of cells. So हमें पता है कि hair follicles they are continuously proliferating, और यहाँ पे अगर आयरन की कमतरता हो तो बॉडी पहले सिग्नल देगा कि आपके हेयर फॉल स्टार्ट हो जाएंगे। सो इट इज वन ऑफ द इंडिकेशन ऑफ आयरन डेफिशिएंसी। देन फ्रीक्वेंट हेडेक ड्यू टू द लेस ऑक्सीजन टू आवर ब्रेन, वी गेट फ्रीक्वेंट हेडेक। देन रेस्टलेस सिंड्रोम में इवनिंग को पैरों में दर्द, पैर में दर्द होना। देन इंक्रीज सेंसिटिविटी टू कोल्ड, वी आर वेरी ससेप्टेबल टू द कोल्ड, एंड दिस इसकी वजह से हमें जो भी एस्पायर ट्रैक इन्फेक्शन भी, अपनी इम्यूनिटी भी कम हो जाती है। इम्यूनिटी के लिए भी आयरन का बहुत बड़ा रोल है। एंड देन ब्रिटलनेस मींस द थिकनेस ऑफ आवर नेल इज गेट थिनर एंड दे विल स्टार्ट ब्रेकिंग। सो ये सारे सिम्टम्स है, ये आपको एनीमिया के साथ भी हो सकते हैं और विदाउट एनीमिया भी हो सकते हैं। मींस आयरन डेफिशिएंसी इज नॉट ऑलवेज कॉजेस एनीमिया। सो व्हाई आयरन डेफिशिएंसी इज इंपॉर्टेंट इन इंडिया? So आप देखोगे throughout our independence, so the prevalence of iron deficiency in women has been not changed. So if you see our GDP 8 to 7% grow हुआ है, अपनी economic growth हुई, there are white revolution, green revolution, we are food sufficient, भूखमरी कम हो गई, हमारे health system improve हुए, we are spending 1.2% on GDP on our health system, but still throughout अगर आप देखोगे, so condition of iron deficiency has not changed, or condition of anemia has not changed in the woman. In up to 2070, it is almost 50% or more than 50%. And due to this COVID condition, it is going to be the worsen. वो फिर से कम नहीं होगा, क्योंकि वो हमें पता है ये सिचुएशन ने पूरे ग्लोबली क्या इफेक्ट किया है। वैसे सेम इन द चिल्ड्रन आल्सो, इट इज ऑलमोस्ट 60 to 80% children below age 5 are anemic. And in men also it is constant, but it is also as per the international law, in the male, the anemia should be less than 10%. But it is not. In India, it is constantly between 22 to 25%. So it affects overall productivity of our country. So what are the consequences of iron deficiency on human health? So one of the major is it reduces your work output or your productivity. And in most of the rural area, the woman has to work as a laborer, so they can't fulfill their work demand. Also in the cities, if they are working, so they are lagging behind their male counterpart. They cannot contribute as much as to the GDP of the country. And it has been estimated that almost as we spend about 1.2% our GDP on health system, but the cost estimate of iron deficiency on this India is 3 times more than the whatever we spend on the health budget. Means if you are spending 1 lakh crores on the health budget, the consequences or the economic losses due to iron deficiency are almost 3 to 4 lakh crores. So it is a huge loss to the country. Then around 20% maternal deaths are directly occurred due to the anemia. Most of the case, women HB level is 6, 7, 8. So in that cases, most of the 20% deaths are caused due to the anemia, and also milder form of the anemia, which causes 50% maternal death. India contributes almost 50% of global maternal death due to anemia. And iron deficiency also contributes to almost 20% of preterm birth, then miscarriage, and also low birth weight baby. And this then continues because once baby is low birth weight, her anemia reserve is low, and then ultimately it is like transgenerational effect. In the next generation also, she might be anemic, her kids will be anemic. So somewhere we have to stop this iron deficiency. So what are the determinants or causes of iron deficiency or anemia? So we start from the or country level, then we come into social structure, then we will come into the individuals. So as per our country level or whatever our naitic determinants or what is fundamental determinants of anemia. So fundamental determinants largely depend upon your country's economy. What is the education state of your country? Then what is the wealth of your country? Means how their productivity or how their purchasing capacity. Then what are the health policies are there in your country that determines the health for everyone, and also the cultural norm and behavior of the dietary practices. So all this determines your status of iron deficiency in the country. And the government of India continuously taking efforts to improve the outcome of this iron deficiency through different programs. If you can see, India is the first country which started the National Anemia Prophylaxis Program in 1970. Then this program was revamped by the National Nutrition Anemia Control Program in 1991. Then we have a National Iron Pulse Initiative Program in 2011. Then Poshan Abhiyan started because based on the Niti Aayog recommendation, we have to increase the micronutrient content of the whole country. So Poshan Abhiyan started in 2018. And then again Anemia Mukt Bharat, because we have the global target of reducing 50% anemia in women of reproductive age by 2025. And going with this speed, it is very difficult. So now there is campaign of Anemia Mukt Bharat. Then there are underlying determinants like the physiological vulnerability. Suppose women of reproductive age, they require more iron because of the kids. Then the early onset of childbearing. We have a lot of early age marriages in 16 to 18 years. So that time the iron store is not capacity. And again, the burden of baby, because baby almost required 1 milligram or 1 gram of extra iron during the pregnancy. Also the high parity, the number of children, as the number of children are increased, the iron requirement throughout the gestation or throughout the pregnancy increases. And also we have short birth spacings. So woman doesn't get time to store her iron back to the normal. So for this also, Government of India has different programs like empowerment programs through self-help group. Then we have different family planning programs. So all these are addressed towards reducing the iron deficiency in the country. Then coming to the intermediate determinants like food insecurity. Now we are food sufficient. We don't have, but still we have a lot of in the tribal areas or there we don't have adequate food. Then also the inadequate maternal and child care is one of the major determinants. For that also, government of India has taken that institutional deliveries will be increased. Then limited access of health and nutrition. Then we have major problem in India is inadequate knowledge of the nutrition. Or we don't consider food as a good option for the healthy lifestyle. Means we don't take food as a granted. Then also inadequate access of wash, means washing hand and sanitation and hygiene. So this is also very important for controlling anemia, and how it is important that we see subsequently in the next slide. So for this also, Government of India has initiated different programs like Integrated Rural Development Program, which was started long back in 1960, so that everybody can get some employment, their family condition, their poverty level can be increased. Then we have Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, then come which is Manrega. Then we have integrated child development schemes for the maternal and child health. Then we have come like midday scheme. And finally, ultimately, to increase the awareness of the health and sanitation and hygiene, Swachhata Abhiyan is going very in the high way in the country. Then coming to the immediate intermediate, which are the individual specific determinants or individual specific causes that determines the anemia, which includes suppose inadequate intake of nutrition, or there is malabsorption of the iron, also the utilization of iron. So all these causes micronutrient deficiency in the body. And another cause is chronic diseases, because now the research has shown it is not only the iron deficiency, but the how iron metabolism managed in your body is essential for the iron deficiency. Means you may have proper store of iron in your body, but the accessibility of this iron into the circulation is not, or it is limited, which is mainly because of the chronic diseases like we have a lot of chronic infection, tuberculosis, HIV, then chronic inflammatory diseases like cancer, and also the exposure of malaria parasites, then hookworm. All these causes chronic inflammations, and this ultimately leads to the anemia. And then we have genetic hemoglobin disorder like thalassemia and sickle cell anemia, where we can't do anything, but we have to create the awareness that what will be the marriage policy. We have different yellow, green, red cards, and marriage should not happen between these cards for the sickle cell anemia. So all these factors contributes to either decrease in inefficient erythrocyte production. So your number of erythrocytes should be there in the body, they decrease, or it may cause increased erythrocyte loss. So as we know, the normal lifespan of erythrocyte is 120 days, but due to the chronic inflammation and oxidative stress in your body, the lifespan of erythrocytes go down. So जो 120 days जिंदा हो रहनी चाहिए RBC, वो 90 days में ही मर जाते हैं. So ultimately it causes blood loss in our system, and all these factors lead to the condition called as anemia, where our HB levels are low, or oxygen supply in the body is low, and causes many health disorders. So what are the dietary sources of iron? So we have two forms of iron. One is called heme iron and another is called non-heme iron. So all the meat products or animal food products, they have heme ions. That means the ferrous iron is encapsulated in the hemoglobin. So it is structured like that, means hemoglobin is encapsulated, or ferrous iron is encapsulated by the hemoglobin. So this is one of the major source of iron in Western country, and it has been found that almost 30 to 50% iron requirements is met by the non-heme iron. And another we have by heme iron, the another class we have non-heme iron, that is the iron which are getting from the plant, cereals and legumes. So non-animal source of the iron. So this iron is mostly in the form of insoluble iron. That is the ferric in the ferric form. So this iron has to be solubilized in our body or your intestine for its absorption. So it has for the solubility, different factors contribute for this non-heme iron solubility. That is the reason the bioavailability or जो हमें body को मिलना चाहिए iron from the non-heme iron is relatively low. It has to take a lot of more efforts for absorption of this non-heme iron. So it has been found that around 5 to 10%, whatever we eat, out of that only 5 to 8% iron is absorbed in the form of non-heme iron, or almost 20 to 30% is absorbed if you are consuming heme iron. So how the absorption and bioavailability of this both heme and non-heme iron takes place? So as I told you, the heme iron is already, the iron is encapsulated in the hemoglobin capsule. So this is hemoglobin capsule. So upon degradation in the stomach by the gastric juices, this is directly taken by the intestinal lumen into the intestine, and then the iron is released and stored in the form of ferritin. However, in case of non-heme iron, this iron, as I told, it is insoluble. It has to convert into the soluble form so that it can be available for the intestine absorption. So the solubility of this iron is depend on different factors, and one of the most important factor is ascorbic acid dependent cytochrome B metal transporter, or cytochrome B reductase. So this iron is in the oxidized form. It has to be reduced into the ferrous form, then only its availability or its bioavailability will take place. So vitamin C source is very important for non-heme iron to absorb optimally. If the diet is absence of vitamin C, the iron will not solubilize and it will not get absorbed through the intestinal divalent metal cation transporter. So one thing, those who are in the vegetarian, which we are eating, most of our Indians are vegetarian, we should always remember that your food should have vitamin C in the form of either salad, tomato, or orange juices, anything you can take. So these are the factors. Iron is very complex for its absorption. So now intestine health is one of the important factors, because the first layer of encounter of iron is in the intestine. So those who are having Crohn's disease or like intestinal bowel diseases, so their iron absorption is relatively less. Also in the aged person, the iron absorbability is less. So intestine health is one of the most important factor for iron absorption. Then source of your iron. So as I told, heme versus non-heme iron. Heme iron gets better absorbed. It is already encapsulated inside the hemoglobin. Their availability is better as compared to the non-heme iron. Then acidity in your stomach, because non-heme iron has to be solubilized in the acidic environment, and it has been found that the country which are mostly vegetarian or those who are on vegetable, the stomach acidity is lower as compared to the Western, those who are meat eating, because meat requires a lot of acidity. So throughout the evolution, their Western country acidity is around 2.3 pH 2.3. However, in our India, it is like 3.3. So we have less acidic environment, and that is also one of the contributor why iron is not getting absorbed in Indian condition. Then again, I told vitamin C is very essential for reducing the oxidized form of iron and then get absorbed. Then there have been also found that if you have composite diet which consists the muscle protein, that will also help in absorption of non-heme iron. So now what are the inhibitor, और वो कौन से फैक्टर है जो आयरन एब्जॉर्प्शन को रोकते हैं? सो उसमें वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर इज फाइटिक एसिड, और जो जिसे हम फाइटेज बोलते हैं. सो ये फाइटेज हर एक सीड में, हर एक प्लांट में रहता है. दैट इज द सोर्स ऑफ फॉस्फेट एनर्जी फॉर द, बट it is one of the major inhibitor for the iron absorption. Then we have polyphenols like coffee and tea. We get a lot of polyphenols because they have their own advantage for the betterment of the health. But if you are taking tea and coffee along with your dinner, lunch, or breakfast, this polyphenol interact with ions and the absorption ion will be inhibited. Then also we have calcium and zinc, because these metals use same transport mechanism. As I told you, this is divalent metal transporter. So zinc also use same transporter to get enter into the intestinal lumen. So अगर जिंक की मात्रा आपके खाने में ज्यादा है, so it will competitively inhibit iron absorption. और similarly अगर आयन ज्यादा है तो जिंक की जो भी absorption capacity हो कम हो जाएगी. So ये है, these are the inhibitor and these are the enhancer of विटामिन सी. नाउ अगर हम आपको इन इनहिबिटर को रोकना है तो व्हाट स्ट्रेटजी विल अडॉप्ट इन योर डाइट? सो वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्टर इफ यू आर यूजिंग लेग्यूम्स, सो स्प्राउटिंग, बिकॉज स्प्राउटिंग करने के बाद सीड के अंदर जो फाइटेज एंजाइम होता है जो ब्रेक करेगा फाइटिक एसिड को, और वो डिग्रेड कर देगा, so that iron will be available for the absorption. So we should remember that always legumes should be eaten when they are sprouted. So this phytase is very important for the iron absorption. और sprouting करने के बाद हर एक legumes की nutritive value भी बढ़ जाती है और उसका iron absorption भी बढ़ जाएगा. आप सोचते होंगे कि heme iron is better और ये get absorbed better, but आपने कभी सोचा है कि जो भी elephants है और जो भी cow है, they are mainly eating their plant-based diet, and they have blood is almost, for elephant it is more than 200 liter, or for cow ke liye it is more than 40 liters of blood. So how they are managing their iron requirement? So in case of ruminant और जो भी cow buffalo है, उनका जो भी digestion system है वो microbial digestion system है, और उनके जो microorganism है वो phytase नाम का जो भी enzyme है, they are degrades the phytic acid, so वो produce करते हैं. So वो नेचर ने वैसे उनको बनाया है कि उनकी जो भी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म वेरी स्ट्रांग, सो उनको मोस्ट ऑफ द आयरन जो भी हर्बीवोरस है वो माइक्रोबियल डाइजेशन से मिलता है, क्योंकि माइक्रोबियल दे आर सिंथेसाइजिंग फाइटेज व्हिच इनहिबिट द फाइटिक एसिड. और दूसरी बात ये भी है कि व्हाइल ग्रेजिंग दे ग्रेज ऑन द ग्रास. सो आई टोल्ड iron is everywhere, so they eat lot of soil also along with their pasture or their grazing. So from that also they get lot of iron, because if you see cow buffalo, they are red meat, they have very high content of iron as compared to the white meat. So they get mostly their iron from the microbial digestion and from the soils. So we should also always remember that degradation of phytic acid is important in sprouting of legumes, or even for that matter cereal also you can sprout and you can make recipes. Then again, I told vitamin C is very important. Whether you take breakfast, whether you take lunch, dinner, some form of or some source of vitamin should be always there. Then we should avoid coffee and tea along with your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because we have to keep some at least 2 to 3 hours, because for the digestion it takes almost 2 to 3 hours. So we should have some gap between your for these beverages, because these beverages are also very helpful because they have polyphenol and they are like very good antioxidant. And another is milk product. We should avoid taking milk product along with your vegetables. But even though if it is not possible, because palak paneer is one of the favorite recipe throughout the India, but अगर आपको लेने हैं milk product along with your vegetable, then your vitamin C should be at very high level. आप उसके साथ vitamin C लेते हैं, then the effect of calcium or the effect of milk-based product can be neutralized by the vitamin C. So you should always take vitamin C along with milk product if you are taking along with lunch, dinner, or breakfast. So now once iron is absorbed inside the body, how iron is regulated or how its economy works in the body. So as I told, so in one adult, dietary requirement of iron is between 15 to 25 milligram per day. In case of pregnancy, it increases means 27 to 30 milligram, but normal non-pregnant women or men require daily 15 to 25 milligram of iron. But out of that, you can see only 1 to 2%, 2 milligram per day get absorbed. Which I told you, it is less than 10% iron is get absorbed through our intestine, and then it's bound to the transferrin receptors, and then it is circulated throughout our circulation, and it's stored in the liver. Then it used for the blood, bone marrow cells, erythropoiesis, और अपने जो भी बाकी functions है body के, like contraction, because lot of energy required for the heart contraction, muscle में myoglobin के form में, और other tissue में बहुत सारे enzyme में iron की requirement होती है. So iron वहाँ पे distribute हो जाता है. So आप अभी सोचते होंगे कि हमारे बॉडी में ओनली 1 to 2 मिलीग्राम आयरन डेली जाता है, और हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट है 15 से 25 मिलीग्राम. फ्रॉम वेयर अदर आयरन इज कमिंग. सो वन इम्पोर्टेंट thing is most of the 90% requirement of our iron is daily made by our dying RBC. So iron metabolism making and breaking of RBC, this making and breaking of RBC take place daily. So it has been estimated that around 200 billions of RBC made daily. You can imagine total world population is 8 billion, but daily human body make 200 billions of RBC, which requires almost 6 gram of hemoglobin and 20 milligram of iron. And if you will calculate this into the ml, so every day we make 20 ml of blood. So every ml, 20 ml blood is degraded, or the RBC are degraded, and from that the iron is released, that is recirculated or reused. So 90% of our daily demand of iron is met by the breaking of RBC. So that is why it is very important that your iron store, because iron is stored throughout our body. So now suppose in liver it is around 1 gram iron is stored. In case of female it is slightly less, around 600 milligrams. So our reticuloendothelial system, or those who are breaking RBC breaking cell like macrophages, they have around 600 milligram of RBC. Throughout our RBC has around 1.8 grams of iron, and then others tissue we have 400 milligrams of iron. So this is how the iron economy work in our body. So one of the very important, because as I told you initially, if there is iron deficiency, we have a lot of health condition, or it is called anemia. At the same time, if you have excess of iron, that is very toxic to our body. So body should also not have excess of iron, because it is iron we know it is very reactive. It can react and it can form oxidative stress. So it has to be regulated in the body. There should be some gatekeeper which will inhibit the excess absorption of iron into the body. So what is this gatekeeper? So hepcidin is the gatekeeper for this iron metabolism. So hepcidin is the 25 kilodalton peptide, or this is a protein which is secreted by liver, and its sense means if your body has enough store of iron, if your body doesn't require iron, then its expression increases or its level increases in the blood, and then its blockage the ferroprotein receptor. These are the ferroprotein receptor which causes the entry of iron into the circulation. So this is our intestinal cells. So iron is absorbed from these intestinal cells. So it will keep stored in the transferrin form in the intestinal cell only. As per the requirement, this hepcidin will open this gate. But if you have sufficient, we don't require activate, then it will degrade this receptor and iron will be stored in the intestine only. So similarly, we get iron from the intestine, then we get iron from the liver, and we get iron from the macrophages. So in all three places, if our circulatory requirement iron is enough, and we know excess iron is oxidative, it causes toxic effects. So hepcidin blocks the iron at liver, और अपनी जो माइक्रोफाजेस होती है, जो भी रेटिकुलोएंडोथेलियल सिस्टम होती है, वहां पे वो ब्लॉक करके रहता है, so that the iron is maintained at the normal level. But now this hepcidin was initially identified as an antimicrobial peptide. It is a products of innate immune systems. So later on it was identified in 2001, and after that its roles in the iron metabolism has been identified. So one of the major disadvantages of this hepcidin protein is this hepcidin protein also get increased during the chronic inflammatory condition. Now we have in our body different chronic inflammatory condition that causes the inflammations, and this inflammation increases hepcidin. So that time also the overall iron is blocked by this protein. So apart from iron, for the erythropoiesis or the making of the blood cell, we require vitamin A, because vitamin A is required loading of iron onto the hemoglobin. So even if you have sufficient iron, your absorption of iron is good, you have body stores of iron, but if you have long-term vitamin A deficiency, then also you will experience anemia. So vitamin D is also very important. Then apart from folic acid or folate and vitamin B12, they are also very important for the maturation of RBC, then also iodine and thyroid. So all these factors along with the irons are required for the formation of blood cells. And we all know that these are the major deficiency in our India. We have every woman who has hypothyroidism, vitamin B12 deficiency is aberrant. Any blood you take, you have vitamin B12 deficiency. So it is a major challenge. Why India is not unable to eliminate this anemia even in the 70 years of independence? Because there are many factors which are contributing for this iron metabolism. So as I told you that chronic inflammation is one of the major contributor for iron deficiency. So chronic inflammation, this inflammation is different from acute inflammation. Means if you have infection, immediately you will get fever and you will have chronic acute inflammation that will be subsided by your drugs. But this chronic inflammation is low-grade inflammation that your body doesn't recognize it. And what are the factors for this chronic inflammation? One of the major factors is obesity. This obesity causes increased level of IL-6 and TNF-alpha. And obesity is one of the major risk factor of iron deficiency also. So this chronic inflammation causes, as I told, increased hepcidin expression. So ये हिप्सिडिन जैसे मैंने आपको बोला कि ये एंटीमाइक्रोबियल पेप्टाइड है. सो बॉडी हिप्सिडिन का सिक्रेशन इसीलिए करती है कि अगर आपके बॉडी में माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म आ गए और आपको पता है कि माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म आल्सो रिक्वायर आयरन, सो to inhibit the access of iron to the microorganism, this hepcidin protein is secreted so that it can block the entry level of iron so that microorganism will not proliferate and it will not cause any adverse effect. But in case of chronic inflammation, it is not the condition because it occurs in absence of this microorganism. So it causes, but it activates the release of hepcidin, and so it's block all your iron channels, which like from the intestine, from your spleen, macrophages, and liver. These are the major internal sources, source of iron. So your plasma iron concentration will be less, even if you have sufficient iron store, and ultimately you will get iron deficiency. So this controlling of chronic inflammation is the top priority, I will say, because now studies are coming more than the iron deficiency. This chronic inflammation is the major contributor of iron deficiency. And we know we have TB, which is one of the, or latent TB, which is one of the cause of chronic inflammation. We have obesity increasing, then we have a lot of chronic infections or hookworm, tapeworm. Our sanitation is not proper, so we have worm infestation, and also HIV, and then the chronic inflammatory condition like most of the cancer, they have chronic inflammation. So all these factors affects on your iron metabolism and ultimately it's lead to the iron deficiency. So if you think as a sustainable approach for this inflammation, then we can take tablet for some time, because people say aspirin or ecosprin is one of the major prescribed drug for the inflammation. But food is the major sustainable approach if you want to inhibit your chronic inflammation. So tomato or any citrus fruit or nuts like groundnut, all they have omega-3 fatty acid, all they have vitamin C, micronutrients, then they have antioxidants like polyphenol, lycopene. All these are fight against your oxidative stress and they help to come out of the chronic inflammation. So this food group or any food, santulit ahar, jo bhi hum bolte hain, macronutrients, they are very important for our overall health. Then we have olive oil, which we can't afford olive oil, but in place of that, our vegetables oils from the rye, mustard oil is very good because it has good ratio of omega-6 versus omega-3. Then we have leafy vegetables, they have all the micronutrients starting from B complex to, then we have fatty fish, they are the good source of omega. So all these food groups, they fight against your chronic inflammations. At the same time, they also provide you all micronutrients, including iron. So these are very important for your healthy lives. And what we should avoid? We should avoid all your fried foods, the soda, refined bakery products, then I have fat from the animal sources and all the processed meats. So these all will cause oxidative stress and they will induce your body's chronic inflammation. So हमें इन चीजों को जो भी बच्चों को ज्यादा जो पसंद है उनको so वो कम करना चाहिए, because that is also one of the major cause for iron deficiency in the children. So हम अगर देखें अपना इंडिया का consumption of food, basically कुछ food groups है like fruits, vegetable, legumes, nuts, seed, whole grains. Then we have fiber, omega-3, fatty acid, sodium, calcium. So these are the protective food groups. This study has shown अगर आप इसका consumption बढ़ाए तो आपको diabetes, chronic heart diseases, chronic kidney diseases, ऐसे एटलीस्ट एक ना एक दो डिसीजेस को आपको इससे प्रोटेक्शन मिलेगा. और वी हैव अनदर ग्रुप कॉल्ड हार्मफुल डाइटरी फैक्टर्स. सो उसमें आता है रेड मीट बिकॉज इट इज हाई इन आयरन. सो आयरन, as I told, if it is high consumption of iron also causes oxidative stress. So red meat एक ऐसा group है harmful इसमें आता है. Then processed meat which has sausages or those who are which has more process. Then we have sweetener beverages like Coca-Colas and all, and then we have trans fat. So these are like harmful dietary factors that we should avoid. Means we should not take. We should avoid their consumption. So these 4 groups are harmful. So they are, this sign indicate that we should not take it. Means the 0%. But if you see Indians, how much Indians are taking, this is the data from India. So if you see the national average for trans fat, we are taking almost 125% higher than what required or what recommended. This is the global average of 100%. So we are taking excess. Similarly, sodium, we should take 50%. Sodium is required for our normal functioning. So 5 to 6 gram daily sodium is required, but we are taking almost 10 grams. So it is going up to the average of our global average. Similarly, colas and all sweet beverages, we are taking excess. The processed meat, okay, we are not eating a lot of the red meat or everything. But what about fruits and vegetables? They are the protective. If you will see, our consumption of Indian consumption of fruit is just 25% of the global consumption, average consumption, and as per the protective function, it is 175% lower we are eating. Similarly, with vegetables, almost we are eating 50% to the global average, but as per the protective function of this food group, we are taking very less. Similarly, seed, nuts, we are taking whole grains to the average above the global average because we are mostly the cereal eaters or whole grain eaters, but still it is far away from the what is recommended, which is protective for these diseases. So overall, our dietary habits are totally different or totally reverse as compared to what is recommended. And that is the reason why we are coming with obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and ultimately anemia and most of the non-communicable diseases. It is not like that our country is not producing enough food. Your country is producing enough food, but you see this newspaper covering. So you can see tomato 1 rupees per kg, 70 paisa per kg. Means how farmer will get, because our consumption is very low. If we are consuming at to the optimum level, farmer also will get optimal price. They will sell their products, and it will help in the both way. For the urban population also, rural population also, they will also get some cash. They can purchase, their purchasing power will increase. And we should remember one thing: whatever is grown on the earth, it is not our property. It is earth property. It is for our future generation. We have to see the sustainable approach. We cannot grow and throw the food. We have to optimally utilize for our body, and we have to somewhere things. Means we are wasting, although we are like poor country, we have poverty, but we are wasting food equivalent to the food which can be fed to all the Bihar population, or maybe one of the state population, you can say, for that matter. So we have to think about this. We have to work on the both way. We have to start consumption of our food products or our whatever. Tomato, we don't consider. Tomato is one of the powerhouse of micronutrient, but we just consume 1 tomato per day, which is for the dal ke liye आधा morning ko आधा evening ko. We don't consider tomato as a fruit. It has the powerhouse. So somewhere we have to think, we have to change our mindset, and we have to come with solution if you have to really eliminate anemia from this country. So what are the strategies? As we all know, iron and folic acid supplements from the childhood, we are seeing the color of this tablet. And we know that disadvantage or the drawback of this, there will be nausea, there will be discomfort, and they're sustainable, or it is not possible to take continuously this iron and folic acid tablet. Then we have second is iron fortification, which we can fortify iron with iodine, or for the urban, we get fortified ceralac iron. But this approach is also not feasible for everyone in the rural setup. So the Ministry of Agriculture, they are coming with some plant or some variety like a rice variety or bajra variety. They are high in the iron content. But ultimately, we have to increase the consumption of these food groups, which are, and iron is everywhere. As I told, this earth is full of iron. Every source has iron. Our iron requirement is also very less. So if we think in that way, then it is possible that we can eliminate iron deficiency. So one of the most sustainable approach, because this food fortification and taking tablet is not a sustainable, or it is not the adherence to the tablet. We know in the pregnancy it is very difficult because of its own disadvantages. So what I strongly feel, dietary diversification is one of the most important approaches. So what is dietary diversification? So we should consume all the food groups at one given time of our lunch, dinner, or breakfast. It is not like that morning I have taken fruit and something. So dinner I will not take fruits, or evening I will not take some fruits or any salads or like that. So we should have composite with everything. It should have protein source, it should have vegetable, it should have nut, it should have in the small quantity or in the small portion, but it should go, because all the macronutrients are complementary to each other. As we seen, their absorption or their function in the body is dependent on one on the another. And there are studies from India where they have shown that the dietary diversification prevent anemia. Means this study is conducted in Pune only, and they have found that if the dietary diversification is done for the 1 year, the prevalence of anemia was decreased significantly, means from 80% to 50%. They have did in the rural area. So there was prevalence of anemia was 80%, and within the 1 year, they can able to reduce through the dietary diversification 30% lower prevalence of the this anemia. And another approach is the water hygiene sanitation, this Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, whatever we are going on. That is also very important, because the health hygiene, as I told, chronic inflammation is one of the major regulator of iron deficiency. So we have to follow these practices. Swachh Bharat is very good Abhiyan. We have to continue this, and we have to make people awareness what is their effect, benefit in the long term. So now this is how we can increase the activity of our dietary diversification. So this is our typical breakfast, Indian breakfast, which is having nothing nutrition. These are like empty calories. These are like empty calorie. We will only get calories. We won't get any nutrient. This is most of the famous breakfast due to because of our lifestyle or whatever, we were not getting time, but we have to take time. Then after that, we have some this breakfast that is also not complete. Means we have only one, either cereals or we have just protein source. Then we have fried atom, typical Mumbai breakfast. So this breakfast atom, as I told, they don't have vitamin C, they don't have micronutrient content. So how your iron is there everywhere, but how it will get absorbed? It will not get absorbed unless and until. So you can have some protein source like eggs, and I always say egg is vegetarian. You can straight away take egg as a vegetarian, and you can start consumption of this. And along with this, you can have tomato salad. Tomato, not salad or directly, also you can take tomato. Tomato is one of the best food, and it is just 10 rupees per kg. So it is not the question of affordability also. And then other orange source, we have seasonal oranges or seasonal fruits. Sometimes we may get, it is very cheaply than Nimbu, 10 rupees, 10 in the train you will get. We just buy it and start consumption of this to increase the bioavailability or absorption of iron. Similarly, in the lunch, we have salad, but we have just one piece of tomato. It is nothing, it is not going to help. So you should have make habit that one extra tiffin of full of salad. Means you can take any, you can take cabbage, you can take tomato, you can take khira, takdi, gajar, everything. Some part should be there along with your tiffin. So, or any fruit, banana that is easily accessible, you can keep in your purse during the lunchtime. You can eat. So it will help in the absorption of iron. These are the small things, but we have to do. We have to follow. Then for dinner, if you have non-vegetarian food, so have some salad along with you. Don't take fruits at the dinner because fruits are full of macronutrient. Your sleep will get disturbed if you eat fruits in the evening. But you can definitely take salad like cabbage salad. We have like carrots and cucumbers. So that will also, and lemon, it will help in the absorption of iron. Now this is all about the iron, its absorption, its metabolism. Now, what is the next? What is next? What we are thinking? So we have target of Anemia Mukta Bharat. So this is the new target. Means as per the global target, we have 2025 target that where we have to reduce at least 50% prevalence of anemia in the age of reproductive woman. So our India has set 2022 target where we have to reduce the prevalence of anemia. Means children's में हमारे country में 58% of children are anemic in between 1 year to 5 years. So we have target to reduce it at least 40% by 2022. Then adolescent we have 29% anemia, so we have to reduce it to 11%. Then adolescent girl we have 54, so we have to reduce it to 36. Then we have women of reproductive age 53%, that we have to reduce to 35% as per the Anemia Book Bharat, but as per the global target, it should be 25% in year 2025. But I don't think it is achievable target due to the situation of this COVID. And then we have pregnant women around 50%, so it has to reduce to 22%. And lactating women we have higher, means like 58%, that we have to reduce 40%. Do you think it is achievable target by 22? I will say it is not. So what changes we have to bring to our society, to our family? Because if you want to make the country anemia moved or country iron deficiency, you have to work at the micro level, at the family level. Ultimately, it is family's responsibility. It is the family members' responsibility that everyone from my family should be anemia free or should be iron deficiency free. So we have to work at the micro level. And for that, I think the male participation in the meal planning, shopping, and preparation is very important, because we just give to the woman that, yeah, you have to prepare and feed us. We will. Some people, they don't go for shopping also. Whatever you will bring, we will eat. Rest is your responsibility. So we have to educate all our society. And if you see the Western country, this is the data from Western country in 1998 study conducted in USA, and there they have found almost 36 to 27% male they involved in the meal planning, shopping, as well as preparation. But this is the not condition in our country. Similarly, the recent paper in 2018, almost 50% male, means there is equal contribution of male in the family, in the meal planning, shopping, and preparation. But now you might argue, and if you see overall prevalence of anemia in USA, in male it is below 10%, and in female it is below, I think, 15%. So they have, means I know they are a progress country, they are the developed country, but that is not an excuse for us. We have to plan. And if you will see our neighboring country, Sri Lanka has done very good in the iron deficiency. Their iron deficiency in women of reproductive age is below 30%. Even the Nepal is doing very good. Nepal has reduced almost their women of reproductive age now 40%. So these are the success story from our neighbor, our countries. So we have to take this ahead. Don't look for the USA because they are progress, but see the country adjusting to our country. They are doing better in the anemia prevention or reducing the iron deficiency in their population. So this is the picture in India. Means everything has to be done by the woman, and blame goes to the woman, and ultimately sufferer is woman. Means most of the micronutrient deficiency they are there in the woman, because she has to share his nutrient to the baby. It is not like that. If male, why it is the prevalence of anemia is lower in the male, it is 23%. Means we are not able to reduce it, but still, because they don't want to share their nutrient to anyone else. But mother has to share. It's almost half of the nutrients in every vitamin D, folic acid, everything to her baby, because this baby has to grow, and it has to then grow for the country. So we have to think at this level that if woman is healthy, the country is healthy. And I strongly believe we have to work on this principle that 50-50 partnership should be there in every aspect, not only because I know Miss Male don't go into the kitchen to take a glass of water also. They don't want water on their table. So this habit somewhere you have to change, the male dominancy or whatever we have in the India. Somewhere we have to break this chain, and that will be help not only for the female but also male. Means we can see the obesity, the heart disease, diabetes in male. They are coming up to the 40, at the age of 40, that is the not age, it is like productive age. People are dying of heart disease like in their 40s. This is all together means we are not, even if you will do some work at your home, it is like exercise. We are not doing exercise. We are not sport person. India is totally bad in Olympics, as we all know. But at least we start some home cleaning or some home domestic help to the woman. It will ultimately help the family. So it's time to take challenge. So what challenge? I will just share my personal story. This is not to make you jealous or it is not to make my publicity, but to create the awareness, to inspire the other family that we have to work somewhere, we have to take these challenges. So in November 2020, I did my blood investigation for some reason. And I found that my HB level was 13.2. My mean corpuscular volume was 67.8 and my mean hemoglobin concentration was 21. So this is the typical case of hypochromic microcytic anemia. So as we know, we are anemics, means any family, if you will do your report, your HB or some of the parameter of iron deficiency is going to be there, and it is bit obvious or bit normal. So I got very disturbed with this because I was, at least from the last 2-3 years, I am following some good healthy lifestyle, eating habitat, but still I am anemic. And we have to take this report as an inspiration. Most of the time, our medical report, we keep it as a secrecy, or it is like we don't share to other. But if you have to really work, you have to show your progress. You have to show your actual response. So this my report is my inspiration, and then I started. From beginning, I was in the kitchen, but I took responsibility that we have to plan our meal, we have to cook, we have to start, and we have to share the equal responsibility. This is last year Women's Day theme, that each for equal. Everyone has to equally contribute for your family. It is our family responsibility, and as a head of the family, because in India, male is considered as the head of the family. So it is his responsibility that his family should be healthy, his children should be healthy, the woman working in his house should be healthy. So I started from the November 2020, and we are also in our institute. We have to create awareness. We have conducted lecture on World Food Day before the pandemic of this coronavirus. So we are creating awareness. So I started purchasing more and more fruits. So one thing we always remember that when we comes to the consumption of fruit, our gold standard is apple. So it is there, apple in a day keep doctors away, but it is not true, because we consider apple 200 rupees kg. So we just buy for giving gift to the sick person, or just in the case of we are not well, that time only we'll take. But believe me, this is the food basket I am started purchasing from the almost 3-4 months. It is 200 rupees. Can you believe this is the whole fruits, which is almost 10 kg, coming at the cost of 200 rupees from the supermarket. You can see this watermelon is 12 rupees per kg. So 2 watermelon 60 rupees. So this muskmelon is 25 kg. So this is 50. This papaya 1 kg 40, pineapple 50, oranges are 40 rupees, and tomato 10 rupees kg. Means in the season we are getting, so 10 kg of fruits we are getting in 200 rupees. I don't think it is anybody can buy. It is not like that. Our mentality we have to start consumption of fruits to our every meal. So that's how the farmer will also get benefit. Now, can you imagine, this is the 200 rupees basket. It can feed for almost 4 to 5 people in a week. It is not like one day. You have to take at every time. You have to take some extra effort to cut the fruits to feed your family, or pack these fruits to your tiffin, carry to the office, and start its consumption. So it is not impossible. It is possible. But somewhere we have to inspire ourselves. We have to inspire ourselves that I want to healthy lifestyle, or I want to be healthy for the betterment of country. Ultimately, we are contributing to the country, and it should be sustainable, because this is our one generation. Now, thousands of generation has to come, and everybody should get that kind of food or that kind of lifestyle during their time. So these are some of my kitchen experiments of dietary diversification. Means you can take anything like bajra roti along with some fruits. You can, and the color and combination are very important for our sensory or brain stimulation. And also colors are fascinated for the children. If you have to increase the palatability of children, because children are one of the most important factor, and they don't like the things what we prepare. They want colorful things, they want party every day. So we have to make small changes, just give lemon juice with some decorative thing. They will be happy, they will be very happy to eat. And that's how their consumption will increase. And along the way of their journey from the childhood to adolescent, the awareness and the habit which we are giving to consumption of fruit will obviously increase. Because why we are not taking fruits? Because our parents or somehow we are not eating fruits during our childhood. So we don't like this. We eat fruit only when we are become sick. So this is one of the major important my must dish, like sprouted bajra khichdi. Bajra is the very good source of iron, but at the same time, as I told, it has phytic acid that inhibit iron. But if you sprout the bajra and make khichdi, so that phytic will get degraded and the absorption of iron and the availability of iron will increase. So somehow we have to follow some these tricks. Like this is rice. It was night rice, so I make breakfast along with grapes. Then we have spinach, then eggs. So it is a like complete meal. You have all the factors that will give you full of energy throughout your life. Your productivity will increase, and ultimately it will help the country. So with this note, I would like to finish my talk with the poem by Dr. Rudyard Kipling. This is one of the very famous person you might be knowing. He is the author of Jungle Book. You know, the all Bagheera and all character from Mowgli. So he's the person who has written this book. So he's an Englishman, but he was born in Mumbai. So most of his literature are inspired by the Indian tradition or Indian culture. So this is the short of the poem. So gold is for the mistress, silver is for the maid, copper for the craftsman, cunning at the trade. Good, said the baron, sitting in his hall, but iron, the cold iron, is master of all, master of them all. So, my dear woman, don't invest on gold, because you know gold is one of the very precious element, or diamonds. We just go on investing on that. But ultimately, iron is required. You start investing your iron for your healthy life and for your betterment or your better life. So with this note, thank you everyone for listening. If you have any question, I'm happy to take. So thank you very much. So this is the iron deficiency day. Don't take irons. Take iron seriously. Thank you very much.
Dr. Uddhav, can you hear me? Hello?
So any question?
Dr. Uddhav?
Thank you, Uddhav. It was a good talk, and it was really very nice. And let me take the liberty to spill some beans. I've been Uddhav's neighbor for quite some time now. And as Uddhav rightly said, the male participation is something very important. And I should say that Uddhav does practice that very seriously. And he takes a lot of interest in shopping things, in cooking in the kitchen. And definitely Poonam is very lucky from that aspect. And I'm sure that none of his girls or Poonam must be having anemia because of Uddhav's so much participation in the kitchen and in the work at home. And this is something all males should take.
Anushri,
Male,
I totally agree with you. I can vouch for that because we had the pleasure of having those delicacies cooked by Uddhav being in his lab. So
Yes, madam.
yeah, it's really commendable. The way he does all the cooking for his family is really nice.
And that is really very important. Otherwise, the woman really get drained off. So cooking itself is so much of a task. And if the men, they are involved in that, definitely one is able to get all those things on the plate. Otherwise, it is very difficult to make all the ends meet.
it is everybody's responsibility. It is not for it is for everybody, for betterment of everyone involved. And you should involve kids also from the beginning itself. because that's how they will create interest in the, because the eating is not like only, but the sensory evaluation, the color, the texture, the smell, everything counts for your palatability. So it is a science. It is not like that, and it is followed throughout the Western country. Why they are not progressive or why they are not anti-deficient? Because this is the science behind the food. You have to take food very seriously. It is like medicine for cure of most of your diseases.
Also, Dr. Uddhav, can I give a suggestion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, this is Sadhna here. Suppose you are cooking, if you are cooking your vegetables in an iron vessel, that can also help in.
Yeah, that is also one of the good sources.
So
There are studies.
what I do usually now, my vegetables I usually cook in iron vessel.
That is also one of the good option, means iron. But there are studies, this iron cooking or iron pot helps the iron absorption in children's. With kids, it is very important. For adults, there are some doubt with the availability or palatability, but there are studies. But that is one of the good practice that you should cook in iron pot or
You
iron.
will have more of iron coming into your food.
Yes, yes. But ultimately, you have that vitamin C source, means whatever it is there, that is a very important.
Yeah, so usually what I do, if I am eating spinach or any leafy vegetable, you can add lime juice to it to increase the absorption of iron.
In fact, all leafy vegetables, you should, have lemon along with that.
Yes,
You should
that's what-
just
that's
squeeze
what-
one lemon over the green leafy vegetables and have it.
That will increase iron absorption.
So thank you, Uddhav.
So thank you very much.
Talk.
Yeah, we would like to thank Dr. Uddhav formally, and we present a memento. Yeah, Uddhav, can you come? And so we are requesting Dr. Gitanjali to formally thank Dr. Uddhav for this wonderful initiative.
Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay healthy.
And we look forward to much more from you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm always there.
Yeah.
We will do something good
Yeah.
for our institute
Good.
as a whole.
Yeah, you are an inspiration. Keep doing what you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Prabjit, and thank you, Pallavi, for organizing this very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Gitanjali.
सारे कितने लोग थे क्या?